Staying with us, I'm Bill O'Reilly in the Personal Story segment tonight. Because I work all day long, I don't get to watch Oprah Winfrey's program, but I did notice that her ratings went up every time this guy, Dr. Phil, came on. He's a relationship expert and analyzes marriage problems on the air with Oprah. Larry King has also jumped on the Dr. Phil bandwagon. So I had a Factor producer call Phil McGraw's, that's his name, People, and invite him on this program. The answer came back, no way, even though he has a new book out. That is very, very unusual because most authors want to promote their works. So I started to pay attention to this. Mr. McGraw, Dr. McGraw, has a Ph.D. in clinical psychology from the University of Northern Texas. He once had a private practice in Wichita Falls, Texas as well. The question is, are some of his techniques questionable? We've got both sides tonight. With us now in the studio is Dr. Stephen Royal Jackson, a clinical and child psychologist and author of the book 8 Steps to Love. Also, Dr. Eric Braverman, a medical doctor who specializes in integrative medicine and alternative treatments. All right, Dr. Jackson, we'll start with you. You're a little skeptical of Dr. Phil, right?
Well, I'm concerned about the way he attacks people at times. And that he's a teddy bear, tell it like it is, Phil's great. But grizzly bear Phil, forget about it. He's like quick draw McGraw, firing at people, and he doesn't have to be.
All right, give me an example. You both watched Oprah Winfrey's program on Tuesday, right?
Exactly.
And they had 2 couples on. I understand, I didn't see it, but they had 2 couples on. I did read the transcript, though. I read what happened, so I know what happened on the program. And one of them was an adultery situation, and what was the other one?
He was in internet porn.
Internet porn, okay. Yeah. So, what did he do that bothered you, Doctor?
Okay. Let me say what I did like. I mean, he was fairly validating, fairly supportive at first, but then when he says to the man, which is very ineffective, he says, why did you do it? Why did you have an affair? And he said, I felt, very contritely, the man said, I felt that my wife wasn't available to me. He said, no, you didn't. That's not why you did it. And then he goes on to say, she didn't get more available, right? See, that's not why you did it. You did it because you're immature and you have poor impulse control. Now, if we could just lay a diagnostic manual on people and that was going to get them better, like some kind of a voodoo thing, that we would do it.
So this sad sack guy who's, troubled anyway to go on Oprah to begin with, to do this, is getting assaulted, in your opinion, by Dr. Phil.
Except at the same time, Phil did say, I appreciate you have courage coming on. But, but technically, you want to get the guy to get his feelings out. You want to intensify, inflame him so he can see where he's coming from with that, and then be able to do things more maturely.
Dr. Braverman, you see him in a little bit different way.
Yeah, I think relationships are difficult, and I think people need to learn watching people on TV, seeing some of these issues brought out. In general medicine, we always face relationship issues. We need to bring people towards forgiveness, towards getting out the stress. And I think that people learn from that example.
But isn't it true that in this kind of a situation, because Dr. Laura does the same thing on the radio, the difference is that people on the radio are anonymous. You don't know who they are. But Dr. Laura is like, she listens to him for 30 seconds and says, hey, you're going to hell, or, something's going on. Well, isn't there a danger that you're taking people who are probably fragile and not too smart, because any smart person would never go on television to talk about their marriage. I mean, I'm sorry. That's not a smart thing to do. So you're taking fragile and not too bright people, and you're basically clubbing them because, it has to be action television.
I don't think it's really clubbing. And when you look at the Bible, you see King David, he's all over the place with his adultery. People have adultery problems that become public. We see Jesus say, your sins are forgiven. Who's has...
Well, why should everybody know that? Why don't you just go to a doctor like you or a psychiatrist and say, privately, try to work it out? Why do you have to be humiliated on natural television?
Well, that's their choice, but really what they're doing, we do this in medicine all the time. We take patients before a whole group of doctors, and we show them, this is lung cancer, this person has heart disease, and people learn in front of large groups and audiences. In the case of relationships, you're teaching the people all the time here about what's evil in relationships. We're always teaching in the public venue about human relationships.
But there doesn't seem to be much room for nuance. Am I wrong here?
Well, it's good to do some demonstrations, but you need to do demonstrations where you're validating the person. Now, Phil is like a tell-it-like-it-is teddy bear, with tough love. Now, tough love is very important. It's a lot of what I talk about in my book. You have to be able to do it firmly and not, like, say, grow up and get over it. That's what he did with Oprah. That's where he got his break. He told her when the Cattlemen's Association was going to sue her, and she was saying, why is this happening to me? He got tired of her saying that, took her by the hand and said, you better get over it. And, or the good old boy's going to hand you your, what. And so that does help in the short run. But, Bill, what you have to do is really say, get her to feel that and shift it and say, I hate it that you're going to do this to me, and that's because I'd love it if you treated me better. And the hate to love, to go into the hate, that place of where you really feel that rage and express it, not repress it.
Okay, but I think that this is exploitative. I think the reason Dr. Phil doesn't want to come on this program and be closely scrutinized by anybody, because he's not. I mean, it's a love fest on Oprah, it's a love fest on King, it's a suck-up, kiss-up, you know. But the thing is that he's making millions and millions of dollars, all right, by taking sad sacks. Again, you're not going to see sophisticated people. I read the transcript. This poor guy, well, he's not a poor guy. He committed adultery, and he got to take his medicine. But he couldn't stand up against Dr. Phil. Dr. Phil was going, and the guy's like, whoa, come on, is that a fair fight?
I don't think it was really a fight. I think it was really a teaching lesson about a common problem in America.
But he was humiliating the guy.
I don't think he was humiliated.
Really?
No, I don't. I think he already humiliated himself with his wife. He's already humiliated himself publicly.
Well, that's for sure.
And here's what will happen. Many people will seek out treatment as a result. There's a lot of brain chemical imbalances that people have that cause them to be unstable and cheat on their wives. There's a lot of medical problems associated with it. You have a whole world that's going to have psychotherapy 3 times a week, and they're going to hold on to people a lot.
Eric.
What you need is really basic interventions that work.
Go ahead. Eric, look, you're a doctor. You don't do surgery without anesthesia. And there's a great short-term dynamic therapy Dr. Davenlu does. And you have to go in with anesthesia when you're cutting people. And you don't go in and just don't give them that. And the anesthesia is validation. It's respect. It's love in the sense of listen to the person. Open your heart and mind and verbalize what you hear them say.
All right, Dr. Bradman, I got to tell. All right, here, I'll just give you an example. If you don't say he's beating up on a guy. Here's this guy, Michael. And he's hapless, okay? He's... Trust me, all right? This guy is not going for his Ph.D. He's not going to be rivaling you guys anytime soon. He's on national television, millions of people, including his wife, sitting there. Phil says, he says to him, you did it because you're immature. You have poor impulse control. This is what you were talking about, all right? And you didn't give a damn what happened to her when you did it. Well, how does he know that? He doesn't know that. Maybe this guy's a tortured soul. He's obviously doing penance by going on Oprah.
That's a cardinal rule of psychotherapy. You don't tell people what they're thinking and feeling. You
but he has to because he's on television.
Well, you could do it a different way.
You can't do it the way you would do it, doctor, can you? You can't do it introspectively and gently.
It's still television. It's pop psychology. But in a sense, what do you have in the Bible? He was without sin, cast the first stone. Sometimes you have to do quick interventions. People are learning. You've had the Bill Clinton issue all over. You have Reverend Jackson issue all over the place.
You don't see any exploitative stuff to this?
I think that that couple already has their problems. They need to follow up medically. I don't think that Dr. Phil...
You don't think Dr. Phil and Oprah are exploiting those people?
I don't think they're going to be hurt any more than they've already hurt themselves in that couple. And I think that people
they
learn.
Go back to their neighborhood, everybody going to whisper in, and God help them if they have kids.
People watch us on Friends all the time.
God help them if they have kids. You don't think those kids are going to get it in the school hallway?
They may get it, but you know what? Eventually, that marriage and those issues are going to be public and known.
But
you know,
I'll give you the last word.
Okay, Bill. He didn't come on here because, like you say at the end of your book, face the truth and make the best of it. Now, that's what I'm trying to do when I help people. I do work with couples and I work with individuals on radio. And they call in, and I keep their privacy confidential, and I take them through the steps in my book, 8 Steps to Love. And I get them to shift from what they're upset about to back to what they would love to have happen. Just like when you're at the golf course, you don't focus on hitting it in the water hole. You want to say, I'm afraid I'm going to hit in the water hole, and that's telling me I would love to hit it right on the green.
Well, look, I think the danger here, and what everybody should know, is that these people are humiliated. They are, because all their dirty laundry goes nationwide. God help them, as I said, if they have kids. We appreciate both your points of view, doctors. Thanks for coming in. And when we come back, drugs.